In this video, I wanted to jump on and talk about creating an irresistible offer that sells itself for golf coaches, specifically when it comes to launching online. When you want to grow an online golf coaching business, it's really important that the thing that you are ultimately selling is irresistible and attractive to your end consumer. So the specific golfer that you're looking to help in this specific area of their game, if you don't have an offer that aligns with what they want, what they're willing to purchase, what they're willing to spend their money on, it's going to be very hard to sell. And the common misconception or mistake that most coaches make is they transition from in-person, where they are just selling their time for money in the form of lessons, and they try to do the exact same thing online. It's not as valuable as it is in person, and you won't be able to sell it for the same amount of money. And then you end up with the same exact problems that you have from in-person, which is a cap on the amount of time that you can spend physically with people, helping them improve at the game, and a cap on the amount that you can spend. Now, most coaches are not at the true caps of what they can ask somebody to pay for their time in person for a lesson, and they haven't even scratched the surface of starting to do that when it comes to online. But if you want to build something that ultimately leverages your time a lot more effectively and doesn't just put you in the same scenario of being trapped trading time for money when it comes to online, then the offer is everything. And this is where I start with all of my clients, is understanding how to craft an irresistible offer that sells itself online. So the very first thing that we need to understand is that it helps a lot to have an ideal client when you move into the online space, because it's very crowded, it's very noisy. And so if you are just like everybody else, you'll become a part of the noise, and people will tune you out and are less likely to pay attention to you. Now, there are exceptions to this rule, and there are always exceptions to every rule. And that is because some people started many years ago in building their online brand when it was not as crowded and was not as big of a thing. And so because of that, they've established themselves and have taken a lot of the market share of being that generalist golf coach online. And there are some people who are just very, very charismatic personalities that have built because of that. And there are also some coaches who have built relationships over the years that have allowed for them to gain notoriety and establish themselves as a brand because they worked with PGA Tour players or had relationships or have just been in those spaces. They showed up on the Golf Channel, they worked with pro players, they were around people who were big players in the space as social media was growing. And so because of that, they are just already known. Even before they potentially started their online brand, people knew who they were in the space. It is much harder nowadays to be a generalist golf coach who helps everybody and just puts out very generic content, tips, and practice and swing thoughts and all the generic stuff that you see online today. You have to be able to distinguish yourself and stand apart from everybody else. And there's a couple ways that you can do that. We're going to talk about that in crafting your core offer here. So you need to know who you're speaking to, and you need an offer that directly speaks to this person, understands exactly what they're suffering with and what they ultimately want to accomplish, so that they can't say no to that. And this is key to building a six-figure online coaching business, is that you're just not a generic coach online, because that's going to be very hard to grow. Is it still possible? Yes, but it's a lot slower. And it's going to take a lot longer to get to the place where you are making the kind of money that you want to make. And this is something from Alex Hormozi's offer book that I really loved, which is he very clearly lays out and discusses like the difference in price based on a generalist versus a specialist. And the more specialized you get, the more you can charge. And a very simple example of this is if you're talking about doctors, a general practitioner gets paid the least per hour of his time, whereas a brain surgeon gets paid a lot more. They specialize in very specific one area of only executing on this surgery. And when you want or need brain surgery, you're not going to go to the GP. You're going to use your insurance probably, but pay top dollar to get the best possible surgeon who specializes in that thing to help you out. And the same applies here. If you want to be able to charge more for what you do, you need to be renowned for doing one very specific thing for one very specific person. So here's the framework to create an offer that sells itself. First, you need to identify the core problem. Start by getting super clear on one major problem your coaching solves for your clients. Remember, people buy solutions, they're not buying coaching. And that's the mistake, again, transitioning from in-person to online and just selling your time in the form of lessons. People are somewhat conditioned to do that when they come to a club a public course, a driving range, a facility. Cool, I'll have this professional look at my swing for an hour and give me some feedback and tips. But when it comes to online, we ultimately don't want to do that. And so to reposition ourselves and to get out of just selling time for money, we need to be very clear on the outcome that we create for our ideal customer or prospect, right? And because of that, they're automatically going to trust that if you're able to articulate that better, like this is your issue, this is where you're trying to go. And if you articulate that, you almost to them like say the words out loud that they're thinking in their head, they'll be more apt to buy the solution from you. To craft the outcome is what is next, and that we want to understand the result that we will get or that they will get from working with you. This needs to be clear, measurable, and compelling. It could be something like consistently break 90 in the next 90 days. It could be add 20 yards to your drive in 6 weeks. The more tangible and specific that this can be, the more valuable your offer becomes. So if you are just vague in this and say, I help golfers get better at golf, not very valuable. If you are extremely specific in saying something like, I help scratch golfers get to plus golf and consistently shoot the best scores of their life in the next 90 days, putting a time constraint around it helps, that is way more powerful. And it will speak much more loudly to that specific person who will be willing to invest with you over every other coach who just talks about generally helping golfers and giving general tips. The other thing that helps to distinguish yourself in online is have a unique mechanism, a signature system. This is where you can stand out from the crowd even more. Instead of selling generic lessons online and just selling your time and, hey, come do a random swing analysis with me, you're going to sell your system, your unique method to getting results. An example is the excerpt that I'm teaching this from is out of the book, The Hybrid Client Flywheel. So is what I'm teaching revolutionary and completely brand new? No, it's me assimilating all the things that I've learned over the 10 plus years of being in business and putting it and packaging it into my own system that combines best of all these different things that I've learned, and then rebranding it, renaming it, repackaging it so that I can sell my signature system for how I get golf coaches results when it comes to online that sets me apart from other people, right? So you want something like that yourself that talks to the specific golfer that you help. It helps them go from where they are right now in a bunch of frustration about the way that they're playing to ultimately what they perceive to be success, right? What's that end outcome that they want to achieve? This allows the signature system really gives your offer structure, and it makes it easier for the clients to understand the path, which is really important. You don't want to lose out on that. Like the path is not buy my time online. The path is like, this is my system that I use and it works over and over and over again, and it's repeatable, and this is what it looks like. Step 1, step 2, step 3, we do this, then this, then this, and that's how we generate these results, right? And that makes the prospect be even more bought into what you are doing and what you are trying to sell them. You want to then, after you've created these things, add in irresistible bonuses, which help to sweeten the deal by including these bonuses, and they enhance the value of the core offer. These could be things that you would typically do inside of it anyway, but just including them as bonuses and like framing them in that way helps to, increase the value perception of what you are selling. These could be things like personalized swing video analysis, access to private group coaching, mental game training program. Bonuses increase the perceived value of your offer, making it an even better deal, right? So having bonuses is a key to an irresistible offer online. The other thing is you want to have a time bound urgency around what you are selling, right? If someone has no reason to buy now, it becomes harder to get them off the fence on deciding whether they want to do something or not. Create limited time offers or exclusive packages to encourage potential clients to take action now. So this could be a part of bonuses too, like, hey, for the next 10 people who sign up, they're going to get X, Y, and Z. This could also be a discount on signing up in a certain time window. And like I said, bonuses could be available to a first 10 people who sign up for this brand new offer. The other thing to consider is how do you price this, right? At the end of the day, the market's going to tell us what price they're willing to pay. But I have seen offers all over the place in lots of different markets and price points selling over a wide range and spectrum of different dollar amounts inside of every market, depending on who you are ultimately trying to attract. So if you look at a high level golfer, they are probably already spending thousands and thousands of dollars in the pursuit of improving at the game of golf. When you think about golf as a sport, it's not a cheap sport. It's not a casual hobby for people that are high level, right? They are spending thousands of dollars on clubs, potentially thousands and thousands of dollars on club memberships. They're probably already spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on lessons. They're spending lots of time in improving at the game. They buy all the top golf balls. They buy all the range finders. They buy all the trading aids. They buy all the clothing and apparel that comes with it. So they're spending money. They're going to club fittings. They're investing in new clubs like every couple of years. They really are already putting a lot into this. So if you're trying to attract that level of golfer, then you need to price accordingly to that, because that level of golfer also won't take you seriously if you're super cheap. They sort of expect that the best will be more expensive, and a lot of them are willing to pay to get that top level experience. Now, if you're going after the everyday golfer who's just, plays once a month maybe, and it's more of a drinking sport than it is an actual, than it is anything else, they probably won't invest as much. You could still position an offer to work with that golfer, but you just have to understand what they're willing to put into the game and where their funds are currently going, and price accordingly to that. Your ideal client is also going to be willing to pay for the results that you promise them, assuming that those align with the current problem that they're having and ultimately where they desire to go. What is that dream outcome or state that they want to get to? Pricing too low, like I said, can actually hurt your business by attracting less committed clients and the ones that aren't the right fit for what you're trying to accomplish. The goal is to provide massive value that justifies a premium price point inside of your offer. And so those are the key steps to creating an irresistible online offer that sells itself. You have to consider all 6 of those fundamental principles. If you want this document, if you want to use it and reference it later and potentially use it to build out your entire offer when it comes to online, and also this is the same, it applies in person as well. Just comment on this video with offer and I'll send you this Google Doc and you can use it however you want to be able to build that out. But these are key. If you don't understand these 6 things when you're building out your golf coaching offer, especially when it comes to online, it's going to be very hard to sell and you're going to be in a race to the bottom. And this is what I see time and time again, is that generalist, generic offers that don't stand out, the only thing to do is compete on price because you look like everybody else that's out there trying to do the exact same thing. And then ultimately that gets commoditized and it's a race to the bottom. And I don't want you to be in that space. So use these 6 things, build an amazing irresistible offer, make it specific, and you'll be so much more successful with that.